I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. You and I and everyone else in this universe can have every single thing that we desire. Anything that you want in life is yours for the taking. A little bit over a year ago, I was faced with leaving my very comfortable role in government. I had grown very attached to my position. I was very much connected to the people that I worked with. It was the best job that I'd ever had in life. And I was being forced to make some pretty significant changes in my personal life, my personal living situation, rather. I would have been required to leave where I was living at the time and relocate back because my job, long story short, COVID, and then everybody was having to go back to work, that sort of thing. And I was being faced with the threat of being removed from my position if I didn't make that change. And I remember the feeling of just the weight of the anxiety of it was so overwhelming. Now, I'm a pretty resilient person. I like to think that I'm probably one of the most resilient people I know. And the weight of the anxiety, of the worry that I was experiencing, and I see it now, it was a lesson. It was something that I needed to go through. But at the time, I couldn't hardly breathe. It was like an elephant on my chest because I was so worried about where my next paycheck was going to come from and how my life, I felt completely out of control in my life. And I felt like everything was being taken from me. Everything was being forced upon me at the same time that it was being taken from me. And the powerlessness in all of that I felt was outside of myself. But obviously, looking back on it now, I realize that all of that pressure, all of that anxiety, all of that fear was the direct result of my resistance to change because of what I was choosing. You see, what we choose and what we decide and how we perceive our world around us is how we directly manifest the things that we say that we want. But when we refuse to change, what we're essentially doing is we are saying, I don't want to evolve and I don't want to trust and have faith in the universe. And what I perpetuate as saying that, this is what I believe in. No, I want to stay with this job because this job is what makes me feel safe. Comfort is the enemy to growth. I was comfortable in my job. I had been in that job for 6 years. I knew what I was doing. And I was being told that I needed to relocate back and not work remotely any longer. And that terrified me because I had to throw away or give up everything else I had ever, grown into. Everything I had built in those 6 years was up for grabs. And I was resistant to changing. And the funny thing about all of this is that what I'm doing right now is essentially changing everything about my life because I'm allowing the universe now to make those decisions for me because I'm trusting in the universe. So now I'm moving to Italy. I'm essentially moving further, geographically speaking, than what I ever would have had to move before when I was in such a space of fear. So that's what I want to talk about today is if you're experiencing a feeling of disempowerment, I want to call attention to the fact that your concept, your mindset, as mine was a little over a year ago, wasn't that long ago. But when you have a belief that you are disempowered, I want to tell you that disempowerment comes from within. It's all inside you. It does not come from anywhere else but you. Because it's your resistance to change that is the perception that you adapt to that keeps you stuck. Because you're trying to cling to, something, a condition, a situation, relationship with something outside of yourself that has created a sense of comfort that is preventing you from evolving. You want the thing, you want the money, you want the relationship, but you're refusing to let go of this other thing in order to have the thing that you say you desire. So what are you refusing to change? Or better yet, what are you choosing? Let's look at that. Let's dig into that a little bit today. Now, you might want to listen to this more than once because it was a catharsis for me to go through what I went through over the last 18 months in the evolution and the redesign of my life to get to where I am today. And I can tell you right now with absolute 100% certainty that once I let go of that sort of white knuckle death grip on my idea of what safety was that would keep me safe financially, emotionally, and whatnot in my life, once I let go of that and I started to have faith on something greater than myself, the higher consciousness, the collective consciousness, if you will, God, Ra, Krishna, Christ, whoever. Once I started to lean into that and to stop resisting the change, everything in my life, and I mean everything in my life, started to evolve into the direction of what I desired. You have all the power. I talk about this with consistency with my clients, with my coaching clients, and with my psychotherapy clients as well, that the thing that we feel stuck in the most is a direct result of our mindset. All of the anxiety, all of the depression, all of the fear, it is directly tied into the things that we feel we must adhere to in order to stay safe. For instance, let me dig into something that I see it's a very common concept. Family, extended family, adults who get into connections and partnerships, romantic partnerships, and then they immediately refer back into talking to their mother or their father as adults, and to bring in that feedback and to not be able to make a judicious decision on their partner without the input of their and these are adults. I'm not talking about children here. I'm not talking about teenagers. I'm talking about fully functioning independent adults who cannot connect or commit to a partner without the input of their family. Is that you? Think about what that is. It's basically you are taking your own responsibility, your own culpability to choose a life partner and placing that upon your family to allow them to decide who they think you would be best suited to connect with. That is codependency, and it's toxic. It's toxic because what if that relationship doesn't work out? Who's to blame? You see? These are features that I see showing up in relationships, adult relationships, when people are attempting to express themselves to the world as adults, but are, in reality are not functioning as adults, but are essentially adults that are functioning as children still, who still have this codependent connection with their family. Now, I'm not saying this to shame you. I'm just calling attention to something that I think a lot of people are just unaware of because they've been doing it their whole lives, that they don't know how to unplug from it. And then maybe subconsciously you know that if you were to tell mom or dad, hey, listen, I'm dating this new person. Oh, who is it? Or when do we get to meet them? When I say so. What? You mean you're not bringing your partner over? Well, what do you think, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of insidious, the lack of boundaries in those connections with family. Because when you tolerate that, when you tolerate the involvement, this is not healthy to have these interactions with your own family where you allow them to make certain life decisions. I was married into that. I experienced that, and I was willing to connect to it because I didn't have that type of familial relationship, and that was what I thought was healthy at the time. All of this is to say that you are the steward of your well-being. You are the one who has to decide. You are the one that is responsible for activating and engaging your purpose. You're not here in a meat suit on this earth for no reason. And you're certainly not here in order to achieve or attain the goals of your mother or your father or your siblings as an adult. So what are you choosing in life? How are you showing up day to day? Do you lack the self-confidence? And maybe that's the case. Maybe because of the codependency that you have with your extended family as an adult has limited your ability to develop your own sense of self-awareness and confidence. And if that's the situation, then at least now you have a starting point on what direction you need to go in. But your direction that you go into is not in connection with another person, it's in connection with yourself. Because you'll never be able to fully connect with another human being if you don't know who you are first. It just won't work. Because if you do that, if you bring another person into your world and you haven't fully connected with yourself first, eventually over time you will grow resentful of your partner because your partner's not showing up to fulfill the needs that you should have been fulfilling for yourself already, right out the gate. These are all opportunities for you to be more self-aware and for you to activate and to actualize your purpose in life. And newsflash, ladies, specifically I'm talking to you, at least in this part, a romantic partnership should not be the center priority of your life at all, ever. Being in a romantic relationship with someone, especially in a heteronormative situation, if you're prioritizing that and you're centering that as your focus, you're shooting yourself in the foot long term. You'll never find your sense of self-awareness. You'll consistently be in situations where you are abandoning yourself in order to create a relationship that you perceive will serve you. And then 20, 30 years down the road, you realize that that person not only is unwilling, but is unable to provide you the support, the respect, the consistency that you seek. And everybody gets hurt in the end. That's why relationships fail. That's why relationships don't work out in the end, is because we look at them as tools for finding the thing that we need to seek within ourselves to begin with. There's nothing wrong with romantic relationships. I'm not trying to poo-poo on romantic relationships. I think falling in love is a beautiful concept. But you can't fall in love with another person until you fall in love with yourself. And I think that's what most of us fear. I know I have. I don't anymore. I'm excited. I'm actively falling in love with myself every single day. And I'm very transparent about that with people because I feel that my job and my purpose is to show up as an example, as a representative of what you should do in order to live your best life. I don't think that adults should disregard the opinions of their family, especially if their family thinks that you're dating somebody that's not good for you. I think that that's healthy. But when you rely upon your family to interject and you love somebody and you connect with somebody, but your family doesn't approve of them and they can't give you a legitimate reason why, that's not exactly healthy, especially when you've already done the due diligence and you've done the assessments and you feel confident that this is somebody that you want to connect with long term. You've got to be able to have the ability to enforce that boundary with your family and say, look, this is my person. If you don't want to have anything to do with my person, understand that as I move forward in my life, that this is going to be the person that I'm going to be prioritizing. You understand? And that if you don't connect with this person, then we're going to have limits on our relationship because I'm going to prioritize my partner. So that's just an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to resisting and what are you choosing and what are you resisting to change from. And, what is it that you want? And anything that you want. You can have anything that you want. But the reason why we don't have the thing that we say we want is because we don't want to let go of the things we already have. Because there has to be change in order for you to evolve and adapt to allow in the newness. If you want to make the $1 million, then the thing that you're staying stuck in is maybe your location or the type of work that you do or going back to school or stopping school, getting in or out of a relationship with somebody who is or is not supportive of your endeavors. You see? So what is really happening is that we have a lot already, and we're not looking at it from a space of abundance. Instead, we're looking at the things and focusing our energy on the things that we don't have. And then we get frustrated and upset because we're not attaining those new things in our life, because we, in reality, already have so much that we don't want to get rid of. What I encourage you to do is to be mindful and present in the here and now, and to look around and be appreciative for what you already have, and use that as sort of the cornerstone of what you're building your manifestation from. Because if you don't want to let go of the thing that you already have, do you really want that much more? And if so, why? What's the point? What's the thing that you want to manifest in your life? Why do you want it? You should always focus on what you want and why you want it. And that's it. Never, ever waste any time or energy worrying about how it's going to happen or when it's going to show up. Just trust in it. Have faith in it. After the last 18 months or so, since this whole situation with my last job kind of started kicking off, I have been through innumerable changes in my personal life, my professional life, my personal life. Me sitting back and saying, you know what, I want to see where all of this goes. I want to let go of the things that are holding me back, stop resisting, and I want to move forward and open up my ability to accept my legitimate manifestations. And I got to tell you, it's been probably one of the most tremendous changes in my entire life. I have had so many changes over the last 18 months, and then even more so over the last 6 months. And then the last 3 months have been just mind-blowing. I can't even imagine what's going to happen. I'm going to be moving to Italy. I'm going to be starting a new job. I'm going to be meeting new people. I'm going to have these new opportunities to actualize what I'm supposed to be doing here in this meat suit, in this existence that I'm in at this halfway point in my life. And it excites me. It excites me because I have proof. I have proof that what I'm talking about works. And when I work with people such as yourself, and folks that are struggling, people that are stuck in these lackluster conditions, and they're upset or they don't know if they should leave. And you know what? If you think for a split second that you're not sure about your relationship, it's probably because it's either done or it's on its way to being done. And the only interruption is your resistance to change, because your subconscious already knows the answer. You don't need me for that. You just need somebody to hopefully reassure you that everything's going to be okay. And I can tell you that it will be, whether or not you're in that relationship or not. And once you're out of a situation, a condition that makes you unhappy or miserable, and you start recognizing and seeing how the patterns of the universe start to align with your vibration, you start to be able to look at the previous experiences, and you're like, God, why did I stay so long? Why did I allow my parents to have such influence in my choices? Why did I stay with that partner who was unable to provide me with the type of support that they professed to be able to give to me in the beginning? Why did I not change sooner? Yeah, I did that too. What are you choosing? And what are you refusing to change? What are you resisting? Look, if you ever get into a bind where you're so anxious, and like for me, the anxiety, the elephant on my chest was this. My fear was tied up with, how am I going to pay my bills? If I have to quit my job, how am I going to pay my bills? Well, my perspective at the time, was tied up in the fact that that was the only job in the whole entire world that I could do. How limiting is that mindset? So in order to get the elephant off of my chest, I had to resist that idea. Or I had to let go of resistance, rather. I had to stop the fear. Look, there are other jobs out there. Am I going to like them as much? Probably not at first, but maybe more. You never know. Unless you let go and you trust the universe and you trust the manifestations that come in. But here's the one thing that I couldn't argue with and that I hold close, if that ever were to creep in again, which is unlikely because my mindset is different. But If you ever get stuck and you feel like you can't see a way forward, and this is the resiliency work that I do, is I want you to consider this. I want you to look at your life as a whole snapshot and look at all of the troublesome conditions that you have ever had to face in your life. And look at where you are right now. And maybe they did or did not work out the way that you thought that they were going to work out, but they worked out, didn't they? You're here. You're listening to this. It's not so bad. The universe showed up. You figured it out. You didn't end up in a cardboard box. You paid your bills somehow. That's what I was worried about. Oh, your credit score, you got to have some money in the savings. Oh gosh, what if you have to get a tax penalty because you pull out of your IRA because you had to quit your job? Because that's what it's there for, right? Stop resisting change. Let go. Breathe. Be present. This is all that exists anyway, is what's right here and right now. Decide for yourself what you need to do for you. Stop putting your life decisions on other people and make your own choices. Communicate with your family. That's fine. Tell them that you're seeing someone and you're not ready to introduce them to them. Well, why not? This, that, and the other. That's how it is. Enforce a boundary. If your family doesn't like it and they're judgmental or they're harsh to you, enforce a stronger boundary. You can be sad about it. You can recognize that they're not treating you fairly because you're adapting to your life the way that you want to adapt to it. And you're not going along to get along, and you're not doing the thing that they want you to do or doing the thing that you've always done in the past. That's okay too. I mean, I get it. It's so hard to walk away from toxic family when you don't know they're toxic. Yeah. Think about that. Maybe you have this perception or this delusion that your family is just super tight and that you're super close to your family, when in reality, maybe you're codependent. Maybe you feel that you can't function without their input. And maybe when you bring a partner in, you've chosen somebody based upon what your family tells you to do. You don't even know that person to begin with. I'm just saying, you can't expect anything to really come for you until you're ready to receive it. And that's a scary thing to do. It's terrifying, actually, to be okay to be alone so that you can connect with your higher consciousness, so that you can get to know yourself fully and know what your strengths are outside of the proposed opinions of those who perceive to know you or love you or both. You have to connect with you. And in order to do that, you have to know what you're choosing, and you have to know what you're not letting go of. And you have to know what you're not changing in order to get to the thing that you say you want the most. The question is, what is that? What is it that you want? Write that down. Be honest. Be authentic. Be transparent. The closer you get to the truth is the closer you get to your own idea of glory. When you vibrate on the level of the thing that you want to manifest, it will manifest instantaneously, actually. Everything that you desire will happen for you. And I'm living, breathing proof of that. Everything that you want in life, when you align with it fully. All right. This has been a Lee Bird Media production. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.